This week, guys, we're going to be talking about the UK champs. Well, not us, Mr. Champs and Statman Jon. We're going to be talking about the US trials, and we're going to also talk about the under-23 selections. So first, I think we'll go into the US champs because it's quite interesting. Some good sprinters doing some good things. What are your thoughts, guys?
Number one, I thought it was a very good demonstration of the US champs and the cutthroat nature of them, and the fact that it's first three, no other questions. I mean, just look at Jasmine Stowers in the 100 hurdles. The best in the world this year doesn't qualify. It doesn't matter that she's the best in the world this year. She's not going. The same in the women's 400.
Well, there is sort of 400 metres. This was really interesting. The same with Jasmine Stowers, but probably the World Championship favourite, Francina McCrory, doesn't qualify. So not only they're not going to get the chance to run the World Championships, they didn't even get out of their own country's championships. Obviously, no other country in the world has that really strength in depth. It doesn't really work across the whole world. We certainly can't do it ourselves. But it was actually a really, really good championship, so I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Is there any event that in particular stood out at all? That was anything that you thought,
I mean, for me,
that was a good performance and think, wow, that was...
For me, it was mainly about on the women's side, because I thought there were some amazing performances by the way. Tori, we've got to say Bowie.
Bowie.
Tori Bowie, awesome. I was really impressed with Jenna Prandini in the women's 200 metres. She's come out of the NCAA and she's been very fast there. But there's one thing that's really interesting about her that no one's mentioned is that she's white. And controversial. No, but I mean, really, I've never seen a white American sprinter. Certainly not one who gets in the team.
On the women's side, they had a little years ago on the men's side.
Yeah, and Jenny Adams did the hurdles. But I just wonder if there's something in the American culture that stops people. If you've got a white girl or guy who's fast, who says, no, don't do the sprints, let's move you to another event because you're never going to get in the sprint.
Well, everyone wants to talk about Gatlin.
Yeah, we don't talk about
that is the first and last time that name is ever going to be mentioned on this programme today. The G word, that's it, no more, shush. We're not the BBC, we don't feel we need to promote him at every turn. I'm not particularly interested in the men's 100, and quite frankly, I don't care. So, I don't give a shit.
There was 10 guys under 10 seconds.
Yeah, whatever. Let's see them do it in Europe.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
this happens all the time in the American trials. Every single American trial.
10 guys under 10.
Yes, but
Were they all legal?
What, is it terms on drugs or...
No.
We'll find out soon.
That's a whole other question. No, but were they legal?
Yeah, I presume so, yeah, I think, yeah. Tyson Gay won it.
I just don't care.
Okay.
And I think I speak for quite a few people when I say I just do not care about the men's sprints at the moment. It's not just to do with drug cheats winning, it's also to do with the standard has just been in flux for a few years. Since, we've had Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, Tyson Gay, Asma Powell all disappeared at some point, which left one person winning everything, getting all the plaudits for what I thought were good performances, but it's easy to be good when you've got no competition.
But we're talking about it, I don't want to talk about it.
Yes, I'll talk about it.
Okay. Right, so next up, I think there's a discussion on... we'll go back to the BMC at the weekend. My performance, Ross Murray won in 3:37, fantastic run. Also a guy I mentioned last week.
Cover of Athletics Weekly as well.
Cover Athletics Weekly there, doing that. Also a guy who I mentioned, Dale Clutterbuck, who wasn't kind of favourite. He won that A race, so I'm happy that prediction came right there in a way. But there's also an article coming out as well about Dale Clutterbuck this week that will link up for something around here. But on that day at the BMC, there was a good performance in the C race. A guy called Michael Calgary, and he won the C race quite convincingly. And at the end of the race, he got interviewed by Jeff Whiteman, and he said, how did the race feel? And he went, I should have been the B race, and stormed off. Like it was hilarious watching him do it. But he's one of the people in this controversy about the under 23s. He's not been picked for the under 23s because I don't know why.
He was in the B race.
He came third in. It's a different event, I suppose, but yeah. He came third in the trials, so he didn't even win it. But he got the qualifying time. Criteria says winner goes with the qualifying time next to a subjective. How do you define the subjectivity?
What is their justification for this?
They haven't given anything yet. There's nothing come out, no statement. But there's a petition gone out, and there's about 1,500 names signed up, which will also link in somewhere, saying getting instated in the event. But
the problem with the British criteria for selection, unlike the American, is every year we have these 8-page documents giving all the criteria of what we've got to do and this and that, and then there's always some caveat at the end at the selector's discretion. So therefore, the actual rules are, we'll do
we
whatever
can do what the fuck we like. And they do, time after time after time. There's no consistency.
Yeah.
But I just remember going back to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And it was the London 2012, and it was the home Olympics.
Every single person who had any kind of qualification whatsoever should have been there. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah. And especially in events that we're not strong in.
Yeah.
Because the women's shot put, we had someone qualify for the women's shot put, didn't get selected.
Yeah.
Same in the women's discus.
Yeah.
What is the
Men's
point?
steeplechase.
Yeah, exactly. What is the point of training all the time, being the number one in your country, and you're not going to get selected? Where people who are statistically worse, but in events that are more popular and have lower qualification standards, do get selected.
I also have a problem with selectors defining what they think is good enough for selection, in that being the number one in your country, as long as you have the selection qualification, should get you on the plane to go.
If the IAAF or the IOC or whoever sets the standards for the under 23s, European athletics, think you've got the standard, then you should go, and especially in a development event. That's the whole point. I understand the argument about raising the bar, which Charles was very...
we're talking about specific events, aren't we? If you are the best in your country at an event and you've got the qualifying, you should go. No arguments, no questions. It's slightly different than under 23.
And they come second and third in the trials, and it's also, they've said that if you're not top 5 potential, then you won't get in.
What's that mean?
So like these guys could be a slow tactical race.
Exactly,
He's won a race at 1500 metres, he's good speed. He could potentially win that event.
You usually decide what potentially.
So it's someone else deciding for someone else, and that's where the big debates come along.
Yeah.
We've also got we'll lead on to the British Championships, where we've got John Mulkeen doing a little bit of a statistical review of it.
That's what he does best.
Yep, Statman Jon.
British selection policy states that to get automatic selection on the team, you need 2 qualifying marks and a top 2 finish at the trials. So you can still be selected if you've got just 1 qualifier or if you finish outside the top 2. But the simplest way of getting to Beijing is a top 2 finish this weekend. In the men's 100 metres, there's CJ Ujo, Richard Kelty, James Dasaolu. They've each got 2 qualifiers. So whoever finishes in the top 2, they're on the team. It'll be interesting to see if maybe the 3rd spot is kept open for a bit, just to see if Adam Jamili makes it back in time from his injury. But who knows yet. CJ Uja, he's also entered in the 200, where he's got 2 qualifying marks, as has Zarnell Hughes. Delano Williams, James Ellington, they've got 1 qualifier each, and then there's athletes like Danny Talbot who haven't yet got the qualifier, but they could potentially get into the top 2 and cause a bit of a selection headache. The men's 400, there are 4 guys with 2 qualifiers each. That's Matt Hudson-Smith, Martin Rooney, Rabi Youssef and Jared Dunn. Obviously only 3 of those are going to make it onto the team, but hopefully all will be involved in the relay somehow. One of the other top events of the weekend is going to be the women's 100 metre hurdles. Tiffany Porter, her sister Cindy Philly, Lucy Hatton, they've got 2 qualifiers. And then Sarita Solomon, who's been in great form this year, she's only got 1 qualifying mark, but again, if she sneaks into the top 2, that could stir things up, which leads me nicely onto the women's 800, because that's an event that's seen some really interesting trial races in recent years, and this weekend looks set to be another good one. Lindsay Sharp, she's been running into form nicely. Jenny Meadows, she's got 2 qualifiers, she was in great form indoors. She's yet to match that outdoors, but she's getting there. Alison Leonard, she's got a qualifier. And then athletes like Shalana Oskin-Clark, Adele Tracy, they haven't got the qualifying standard, but in a tactical race they could get into the top 2, which could make things interesting selection-wise. And then the final true kind of trial event of this weekend is the women's long jump. We've got 3 women who've jumped beyond 690 this year. So that's Shara Proctor, Lorraine Ugen and Katrina Johnson-Thompson. And then there's the national indoor champion, Abigail Irizuru. I'm not sure if Katrina Johnson-Thompson plans on doubling up in the heptathlon and long jump at the World Champs. If not, then it's possibly safe to assume that the 3 spots on the team will go to the specialists. But if she does decide to double up, then obviously all 4 of those athletes are going to be fighting out for the 3 spots on the team. So that's it. That's my pick of the top 6 events this weekend. Bayo, Jodie, Matt, back to you.
I hope that was suitably informative. John Mulkeen does know his stuff. I personally am looking forward to the men's 1500
No.
metres. It's my favourite.
You surprised me. For me, it's the women's long jump. I mean, 4 women who've got the qualifying this year, 3 women over 690. So if everyone competes, that's a really amazing event.
The women's 800 is going to be great as always. There's always a real competition there. We've got a little something for someone who knows a bit more about it than I do. Coming right up.
Hey, I'm Jo Mersh, formerly known as Jo Fenn. I used to run the 800 metres a few years ago, and this weekend we have the British Trials. So who is going to be going off to Beijing for the World Championships? I'm certainly going to be watching on Sunday's final. I think it's going to be a really cool final. I think there will be probably 5 or 6 girls in with a fantastic chance of qualifying. I think the 800 is probably the strongest event it's been for a while. We've got a wealth of talent coming through, some real young talent coming through. My daughter just sat on a whoopee cushion, so funny. And I think we've got the likes of Jenny Meadows and Lindsay Sharp and Alison Leonard all battling for the top 3 spots. But I do think we've got people like Shalana coming through as well. And I think some young ones really need to give it a go. This is a great opportunity to go through and get that experience at World Championship level.
So that's our good mate Jo Mersh. Tell us a bit about how it's like to compete at the trials. What else is happening?
Well, we've got the Paris Diamond League.
The Diamond League's back.
Okay, the only important thing I'd like to say about this is Queen Valerie is back in the house, back from injury. She's got some competition.
Really has got some competition.
Christine Swanich has dropped over like 2070 this year. But come on, the Queen's back, isn't she? So is there any shot she's going to lose?
No. Well, she hasn't lost seriously to someone who's not on drugs since 2005.
Yeah.
So my money's on Valerie, as always.
Okay, I think that's it for today. Next week we'll be back again, hopefully. And if you've got any kind of tweets or any comments to help us improve what we're doing, I'd really like to hear it. Improve, maybe not improve. Maybe, maybe give us a name for it.
That would help.
A name, please give us a name. It's so fucking hot.
It's too hot.